Let's get right into it. Seventh disaster movie mind. Ever make a tiny mistake at work, like a small slip-up that probably doesn't even matter, but suddenly your brain starts playing this full-on disaster movie where you're fired, homeless, and fighting raccoons over pizza crusts? Or maybe your friend doesn't text back for an hour, and your brain's like, they hate me, it's over. Or even, they're probably lying in a ditch somewhere. This isn't just regular worrying, this is catastrophic thinking. It's like having your own personal film director living inside your head who only makes disaster films. And guess what? You're always the star. Your brain grabs something small and harmless and blows it up like a balloon at a kid's party. But instead of fun shapes, you get full-blown nightmares. Picture this. Your boss sounds slightly annoyed on a call. A normal brain says, maybe they're just having a bad day. But a catastrophic brain? Oh, that brain says, I'm getting fired, I'll lose my house, and my cat will judge me forever. It feels like you're just being responsible, like you're preparing for the worst. But there's a big difference between planning ahead and assuming the world is ending because you forgot to send an email. People with this mindset don't just worry about messing up a presentation. They see themselves freezing on stage, the whole room laughing, getting fired, never working again, and ending up yelling at pigeons in the park. And all that? From just one PowerPoint. The anxiety this causes is intense because that disaster movie feels real, like it's happening right now. But here's the truth. Studies show most of the disasters we imagine never actually happen. And when bad things do happen, we're almost always way better at handling them than we think. But try telling that to a brain that's convinced a simple typo in a text means the end of every relationship you have. Number 6. Rejection panic button. Ever felt like a tiny bit of criticism hits you like a physical punch? Or maybe someone slightly ignores you, and suddenly it feels like the end of the world. If that sounds familiar, your brain might have a faulty panic button. There's actually a name for it, rejection sensitivity dysphoria, or RSD. Now, dysphoria is just a fancy word for a really bad feeling. So, RSD means feeling extreme, overwhelming pain from even perceived rejection or criticism. And this isn't just about getting your feelings hurt. It's like an emotional A-bomb goes off inside you. Someone with RSD might turn into a total people-pleaser, terrified of anyone thinking they're not perfect. They might get obsessed with being flawless because even the smallest mistake feels like a devastating failure. Or sometimes, they might suddenly explode in anger or burst into tears over something that seems tiny to everyone else. They might even start avoiding going out or trying anything new because just the chance of feeling rejected is too awful to risk. And the weirdest part? The rejection doesn't even have to be real. A delayed text can feel like a personal attack. A friend who looks distracted can feel like they secretly hate you. It's like their brain smashes that panic button for no reason at all. And no, this isn't them being dramatic or weak. It's just how their brain is wired. It's actually super common in people with ADHD. Experts think almost everyone with ADHD feels this way at times. Their brains just feel the sting of rejection way more intensely. Imagine quitting a great job because one piece of feedback felt like betrayal, or constantly worrying your partner's going to leave, making it harder to really be close. That intense reaction you see? It might just be their brain's faulty alarm system unleashing a storm of real pain. Number 5. Compulsive body habits. Picture that friend who can't watch a movie without chewing their nails to the quick, or maybe it's you, noticing yet again that you've been picking at the same tiny scab all day. These aren't just random bad habits. They're signals. Signals that your brain is under stress and crying out for help in the only way it knows how. These are called body-focused repetitive behaviors, or BFRBs, and millions of people deal with them without ever realizing it's a real, recognized condition. Let's talk nail biting first. Lots of people nibble at their nails now and then, but for some, it's far more serious. They bite so much that their fingertips bleed, Their nail beds become damaged, and still they feel powerless to stop, even when they desperately want to. Then there's skin picking, dermatillomania. This isn't just popping a pimple here or there. We're talking about long, painful sessions in front of the mirror, digging at skin that was perfectly fine, creating wounds and scars that people feel they have to hide, sometimes under long sleeves no matter how hot it is. And hair pulling, trichotillomania, can be just as brutal. People find themselves yanking out strands of hair from their scalp, their eyebrows, even their eyelashes, often without even realizing they're doing it until the damage is done. The brain sends a signal, something's wrong, fix it now. And the hands respond, no matter how much the person wishes they wouldn't. In the moment, there's a strange, fleeting relief, like scratching that impossible itch. But afterward comes shame, regret, and the physical pain left behind. Then, the cycle begins all over again. Stress and anxiety make it worse, as if the brain is saying, I can't control this emotional pain, so let me create physical discomfort that I can. BFRBs are linked to anxiety, OCD, and sometimes trauma. The brain gets trapped in a loop. The good news? There's real help out there. But the first step is seeing these behaviors for what they are, a cry for support, not just a bad habit. Number 4. Trapped by rituals. Imagine someone who absolutely must tap the doorknob 3 times before they can leave the house. Or someone who lines up their pens and papers in flawless symmetry on their desk every single morning. Now, we all have small habits or preferences, little things that feel good or comforting. But for some people, these aren't just quirks. They're urgent, relentless commands from the brain that feel impossible to ignore. Welcome to the hidden struggle of OCD control rituals. This isn't about liking things tidy or wanting to stay organized. It's about feeling, deep down, like something awful is guaranteed to happen unless you perform a certain action. The ritual becomes the brain's desperate, last-ditch effort to silence that fear. It's like living inside a cage of invisible electric wires. Cross one, break even the smallest rule, and your brain's alarm system explodes into panic mode. These rituals can seem strange or confusing from the outside. Someone might wash their hands so often and so hard that the skin cracks and bleeds, not because they're dirty, but because they're trying to scrub away a terrifying thought. Someone else checks the door lock over and over, convinced that missing even one check will lead to disaster. Some people reread the same sentence or page countless times, haunted by the fear that they've missed something vital that could lead to ruin. For one person, bedtime means making sure every single item on their nightstand is perfectly lined up, because if it isn't, a wave of crushing dread takes over, making sleep impossible. What makes it even harder is that the relief these rituals bring is painfully short-lived. The anxiety always comes creeping back, or worse, it rushes in louder, pushing for the ritual to be repeated, maybe in an even more complicated way. It's a brutal cycle that can devour hours of a person's life. The brain keeps whispering, if I just do this, the bad thing won't happen. But it's a trap. The ritual itself becomes the source of the suffering. And here's the truth. This isn't about choice. It's not about being picky or perfectionistic. It's the brain's warning system glitching, desperately trying to find control in a world that suddenly feels terrifyingly unpredictable. Number 3. When joy disappears. Ever bite into your absolute favorite food, the one that used to make your taste buds dance, and suddenly it tastes like plain cardboard? Or your best friend shares amazing news, like they just got engaged, and instead of feeling excited, you feel nothing? You might brush it off, telling yourself you're just exhausted, or maybe you've grown out of things that used to thrill you. But this emotional flatline has a name: anhedonia. Anhedonia is when the things that once sparked joy just don't light you up anymore. Imagine your brain has a kind of joy circuit. When something good happens, This circuit fires up and releases feel-good chemicals like dopamine, giving you that warm, happy glow. But with anhedonia, it's as if that joy circuit is shorted out. You can be at a party, surrounded by friends, with everyone laughing and having a great time, and inside, you feel like you're standing outside looking through a window. There are two main forms of this. Social anhedonia is when being around people no longer fills your emotional cup. Your friends text you to hang out, and it feels like a task on a to-do list, not something you look forward to. Physical anhedonia is when physical experiences, like savoring a good meal, listening to your favorite song, or feeling the sun on your skin, no longer bring that spark they once did. So, if life's joys seem to have packed up and left, it's not because you're being difficult or ungrateful. It's a signal from your brain that something deeper may be at play, and that it's time to pay attention. Number 2. The reassurance trap. Number 2. The reassurance trap. Imagine living with a constant echo in your mind, a voice that keeps asking, "Are you sure?" over and over, and no matter how many times you get the answer, it's never enough to quiet that voice for long. This is excessive reassurance seeking. It's like your brain has an anxiety alarm that only the soothing words, "Yes, you're okay," can pause, but only for a moment. Picture this. You send a simple text to a friend. No reply comes right away. A typical mind might think, they're probably just busy. But in the reassurance trap, your brain jumps straight to panic. They're mad at me. I must have upset them somehow. So you ask them, "Are you upset with me?" They reply, "No, not at all." Relief washes over you, but it's fleeting. Soon, that gnawing doubt creeps back in. What if they're just being polite? Maybe I should ask again, just to be really sure. Here's the thing. This isn't about learning anything new. Often, the person seeking reassurance already knows the answer, or has heard it multiple times. The drive isn't for information. It's to escape the awful, uncomfortable feeling of anxiety and uncertainty. But here's where the trap snaps shut. The more you ask, the more your brain starts to depend on reassurance to feel calm. And the more you rely on it, the stronger the urge becomes to ask again and again whenever anxiety spikes. This can show up in all kinds of ways. Some people might repeatedly confess tiny mistakes they made years ago, hoping to hear, "It's okay." Others might spend hours scrolling through health websites, needing confirmation that their headache isn't something serious. Each time they get that reassurance, they feel a quick burst of relief, but it's short-lived. That little hit reinforces the behavior, making it harder not to ask the next time doubt sets in. It's a vicious cycle. The goal is to feel certain, to hit some imaginary point where the answer finally feels satisfying. But that point keeps moving, like a mirage that vanishes as you get closer. This isn't about attention-seeking. It's a compulsive response often linked to anxiety disorders and obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD. The brain is frantically trying to find certainty in a world full of uncertainty. But the truth is, the search for 100% certainty is endless and exhausting, not just for the person caught in the loop, but for those around them too. Imagine being asked the same question again and again, day after day. The reassurance seeker isn't trying to irritate anyone. They're often in real distress, trapped in a loop where answers bring only brief peace before the anxiety starts all over again. Number 1. Frozen by choices. Frozen by choices. Ever spent 45 minutes scrolling through Netflix without watching anything, or stood in the cereal aisle so long that security started giving you weird looks? This isn't just being indecisive. This is decision paralysis, and it's your brain's way of screaming that something deeper is going on. Picture this. You're at a restaurant. The waiter asks what you want. A simple question, but your brain turns into a supercompute. running every possible disaster scenario. What if the pasta is cold? What if the chicken gives you food poisoning? What if you pick wrong and everyone judges you? Ordering lunch just became a life or death situation in your head. People with decision paralysis aren't just picky. Their brains are stuck in a loop, desperately trying to avoid the wrong choice. They're waiting for that perfect feeling of certainty that never comes, so they freeze. Sometimes for hours, sometimes for days, sometimes they just let other people decide everything for them. This isn't limited to small stuff like what socks to wear. It bleeds into everything. Career moves get postponed indefinitely. Relationships stay in limbo. People stay in apartments they hate because looking for a new place means making choices. The brain's fear response gets so messed up that picking a sandwich becomes as stressful as defusing a bomb. Nearly 20% of adults deal with anxiety disorders that can cause this. That's 1 in 5 people whose brains turn everyday choices into mental torture chambers. The what-if game never stops. Your mind becomes your own worst enemy, trapping you in endless loops of possibilities. So if you find yourself paralyzed by choices that other people make without thinking, it might not be a personality quirk, it might be your brain sounding a clear alarm. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.